This podcast is intended for adults only. We do not condone the use of any illegal substances, and anything we consume is for educational purposes only.
Because, we should be afraid of a plant that grows from the ground. And, endocannabinoid system is, it's in your body and it produces cannabinoids. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna rant. Just play the music, Mitch.
I drove 6 states, never thought I'd be there right by my side, man. What a time it is to be alive. See, I'm charged up, feeling energized, building enterprise, move supersize. Y'all let shit like a side of fries. Whoa, false guys who you idolize. Yeah, go against us, I would not advise. We the highest in the room, just look up once and you can find us. Our song should have more plays, but we too dope, they rewind us. All my targets lined up, every day my girl.
What's up, everyone? You're listening to the Canna podcast, where we are cultivating conversations concerning cannabis, culture, and creativity. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Mitch Narito.
And it is Erick Esteban here. And this has been an eventful week in cannabis
yes, it has.
For us, for all of society. I don't know.
For all of society?
I don't know. Everything always is all of society for me. I don't know. But what did you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about Ube World.
Oh, dude. Uber World. See, because here's what happened. I ran out of my homegrown. And so it's the first time in a minute that I had to go to the dispensary to buy some weed. And Mitch and I smoked a lot because we always smoke before the show. That's kind of the
un poquito.
That's the tradition. And so I was a little absent-minded and I forgot what we were going to talk about first. And I'm glad that you reminded me.
This guy. Eric may be a little tipsy too. He had a beer.
Yeah, we did have a beer. I mean, we're enjoying a glorious California afternoon. Why not?
It's summer. It's hot as fuck.
Yeah, and why not? Yeah. So we had a little beer, we had a little weed, and now we're going to have episode 24 of the Canna podcast. Isn't it a trip to be on episode 24?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about Ube World, man. You got to host Ube World.
Yeah, so Ube World was in San Diego this past Sunday. It was an all Filipino lineup, or mostly Filipino lineup, and Filipino by association.
AAPI,
you know who you are.
AAPI lineup.
AAPI? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go with that, I guess.
Yeah, and Ramon is AAPI adjacent because he's married to
Yeah. Filipino and Filipino adjacent.
There you go.
But yeah, it was an event. It was a comedy show down at Mic Drop Comedy in San Diego. Shout out to them. Shout out
to Hillary Hudson, the owner, who was actually present for the event, and she was there all in the transition. And I was trying to stressfully hug her in the transition. I was like, "This is not a good time to hug her," but I'm gonna hug her anyway. And I gave her a little quick hug, and then I left, and I was like, "Woo!" but no, shout out to Mic Drop Comedy for real. It's one of the best stand-up comedy venues in all of San Diego, if not all of SoCal. For real.
Yeah, SoCal, definitely one of my tops. Shout out to Mikey Perry, who put it all together.
Hell yeah, another fellow Canna.
Hell yeah, you've seen or heard him on our podcast before. He's a good guy, man. I like that guy.
Yeah, no, dude, Mikey is a good dude, and I met his parents. They're good people. I mean, Ube World is a good time all the time, but it's not been necessarily a struggle. But I think that Mikey finally found a great marketing tool for San Diego, and that was those little flyers he gave us.
Yeah, no, he did tickets. It right. It was a sold out event. We actually had to turn people away.
Yeah.
Next one.
Actually, no, they just got filtered into the gold room because they needed. So they just went into the second venue, and that whole place was sold out because of us.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
crazy.
That's why the GM was like really happy because
I thought they just had to send people home.
All the wait staff was buzzing. No, that's what the gold room is literally for. Because part of that is because I host that open mic at the gold room.
Yeah,
and the overflow of the main room always goes to the gold room.
So they just put it on the TV. Or
no. There's another live show in the gold room.
Oh. Sorry,
and so
I thought it was connected.
And they just filter and fill the whole place up. And so even if you're on a smaller show in the gold room, they look out for you. That's why they built that club with comics in mind, which is a really great thing. And you see how it's like. So the gold room tends to be like smaller independent producers, and they tend to like. Sometimes, you never know. It's a struggle to fill up the seats, right? But when there's overflow in the main room, you're good. So if you book a big enough headliner, there's always going to be overflow. So you're going to have at least 10, 15 people that go into the Golden Room.
Let's shout out the comics. We had Julia Cross on there. We had Ramon Smith, Leia Ava, Mark Bond was on there. I love that guy. I love Y40, man. Shout out to Y40. You, myself, and Mikey. Am I missing anyone?
No, I don't think so.
I hope. Oh no. Rosalie Rosal.
Oh
my God.
Rosalie, yeah.
I almost forgot her. Sorry.
Crazy ass squirting Rosalie.
Yeah. And these are her words. She's Mexican and Filipino. I would call that a Mexipino, but she calls it a Filipiner.
And that's fine. I love it. No, you know what's wonderful about Rosalie, and we'll give her special shout out since you didn't put her in the lineup when you initially mentioned it.
I didn't forget her, though.
And you were the host.
I didn't forget.
No,
I hosted.
You didn't. You hosted, man. You did a good job hosting, man.
Thank you.
Because I know you don't normally host, and I know you. We were just talking about how you kind of feel a little weird about it. So.
No, I'm comfortable being on stage.
Yeah.
But and I'm also a teacher. If anyone out there did not know, I teach English as a second language to adults. I develop communities, folks. I develop communities.
He's building cities, bro.
No, for real. Like if you were an immigrant coming to Los Angeles within the last, oh my God, you know how long I've been teaching?
How long have you been teaching?
This will be my 17th year.
Oh wow, 17 is my lucky number.
Dude, 17 years I've been teaching. And like, so if you've come to Los Angeles and you settled in either downtown or like East LA or Downey or whatever, any of those spots, I was probably your teacher. I probably taught you English. And
Jeez.
I taught you basic numbers, colors, structure of the language. But anyhow, sorry, what were we talking about? I don't even know anymore. I just
about Ube World.
Oh yeah.
How you're the host.
Oh yeah. So I was hosting, and like like being in front of a crowd, it doesn't really bug me too much, but it was awesome. Like it was a sold out crowd, as a lot of Filipinos. Mm-hmm. Like the support and the love from the San Diego community is amazing. San Diego, I genuinely love you. You guys always treat me right whenever I'm down there. Whatever it's for, like whether it's for comedy or like Comic-Con or just to, enjoy the day,
Mm-hmm.
like San Diego always takes care of me, and I love San Diego so much.
Yeah, man, I love San Diego so much as well because it's a little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of a diversion from Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because the grind of Los Angeles. So I live in Burbank, California. So it's like the receptiveness and the open-eyed, I'm happy to be here at this comedy club and happy to laugh and open to laugh and no judgment, let's just all have fun attitude of San Diego is amazing. It really is.
No, for like Los Angeles is different. Like I was born and raised out here,
mm-hmm.
right? Los Angeles does have that. I hate to say, but it's like that Hollywood feel, like there is that.
It's harder to make people laugh in Hollywood than it is to make people laugh in San Diego.
There is a bit more. What's the word I'm looking for?
San Diegans are more open to laughter.
Yeah, there's more of a superficiality from Los Angeles.
Well, I think it's more of a less jaded because there's almost a overabundance of stand-up comedy and stand-up comedy shows. So it's almost like you're over it already if you live in Los Angeles because you can trip over a stand-up. You can walk out, you step outside your door and trip over a stand-up comedian in Los Angeles.
I'm not even talking about just like comedy, just like in general.
In general, the entertainment business in general.
Yeah, like Los Angeles folks, like they do have that attitude. I'm guilty of it. Like I got a little bit of that. Like I have that bravado, like whenever I'm anywhere like else that's not Los Angeles. Where are you from? LA.
Mm-hmm.
I got that pride.
Yeah, for sure. And you should have that pride because there's a lot of wonderful things that have come out of LA. Like the pop out. I mean, I felt a little Los Angelino at the pop out, but
mm-hmm.
I know that I am not that they not like us. I know that I'm not I am also not like that. I am not also. I am also not like us. So it's okay. I'm cool. I know I'm not included, but it also at the same time I can still dance and enjoy the shit. But you know the pop out was like, I mean, Los Angeles to its fullest. So I mean,
yeah, no, but like San Diego, like shout out, like San Diego, National City, Oceanside. Like the people that I've met from like that area, from like down south, like they're so chill. I've always gotten along with them. Some of my best friends.
Oh,
are from
shout
there.
out to Trey Cat, the
Is he
guy,
from down there?
the artist that does our theme song, Hella Fusion. You know, highest in the room, we got fucked up. Whenever the intro of the song and the outro of our podcast is from Trey Cat, who's also in San Diego.
Nice. See, yeah, like it's just like there's a certain vibe that's down there. It's kind of like, you know, like in NorCal, they got their vibe up there.
Vibe, yeah, for sure.
Like
it's like E40 vibe, but E40 vibe, authentic vibe.
Yeah. Chicago has its own vibe.
We should explain that joke, because shout out to Mark Bond, because for me, as Ube World was not a trip, because it was kind of what I wanted and what I intended when I brought you and Mikey to Chicago. Was I was hoping that Mikey would like and connect with the Chicago comics like Leia and Mark, and then have them at Mic Drop. So for me, it was it almost, I don't want to say it was like it was like the plan is going according to plan. You know what I mean?
No,
Everything is going according to plan.
Like I don't like, I'm trying not to exaggerate or like hype it up too much, but like in all honesty, from like I'm trying to be objective as possible, but everyone that night brought the heat. Like I felt that like I was probably the weakest link of the night.
Stop! You are the host. That's It's not your host. It is the job to be the link, regardless of what you think of what weakest or strongest. You are the link, and you provided that link throughout the show. You were a great host.
I was just trying to keep the show going. You know,
and
like,
that's exactly, you did exactly what your job was, and regardless of whatever, you know, because you're still learning, man. We're all still learning about this shit, because every time I step on stage, I try to learn something from the last time I stepped on stage. So it's all good, man. And you were a great host, man. You're a great host.
Thank you. A couple takeaways from the show. We realized that if you are a regular listener to this podcast, we truly appreciate you, because I guess we never really thought about it, but because we are a cannabis podcast, we don't,
and we like predominantly say it on our description, and our logo is
very
cannabis.
open about it.
We're open about it.
But because of that, you know, it is not
shadow banned.
Yeah, we
I mean, on Instagram, Canna Grow, which we're probably going to change to the Canna Kuyas, so all the stuff matches up.
Yeah, but pretty much it's like it's harder to find us because we will like, we're not completely like blocked off from everything, but we do show up lower in the search results, like when you're trying to look us up. So if you're trying to tell us, you know, I'm sorry, if you're trying...
So those reviews mean a lot.
Yeah.
Those shares mean a lot. Anything you guys do to interact with however you're listening to us means a lot, because it gets us almost unshadow banned if you're sharing us, or you're even just interacting. Again, just interacting.
If you're trying to tell us or tell your homies about us, and you're telling, oh yeah, look up the Canna Kuyas, and they can't find our podcast, have them look for our logo, I guess, is the best.
No, the best thing, you're such a good segue person. The best way is going to our website and going to the 12productions.com. That's the 12 productions.com.
So again, it's ONETOO productions.com. And then you can find the Canna Kuyas under the sublinks. We got our merch up there. If you're trying to, we got tons of shirts, guys. Someone buy a goddamn shirt, please.
We also have hats with patches of our logo. Really, really high quality hats. Shout out to Pinoy Street Team and Michael Pablo, who do all of our printing. And we're just trying to, because the way you can support our podcast is definitely by buying some of our merch. But at the same time, You can even just support our podcast by liking it and giving us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or giving us a review. Those are the best ways that you can help us defeat the algorithm and defeat the shadow ban of Instagram, is by sharing
Why
our
are you
stuff.
talking about it like it's like a legendary dragon you have to...
Because it is, man. Because it is. That's the way I look at shit. I look at shit like, like Star Wars, or like, Lord of the Rings. Or, because I am a flirt.
Yes, we are.
I am a Filipino nerd. I love all that shit. But part of why I love all that shit is because I'm able to appreciate cannabis, and I always smoke cannabis before I consume my my flirt material, whether it's Marvel or all that stuff.
Before we get too off track, let's.
No, we're not off track. We're right on track.
Okay. Well, like in terms of
in terms of the podcast, I know we're at the grow update part of the podcast.
Let's do that.
And I'm really excited and also dejected about the grow.
What happened?
Well, because I don't know if you've been following us on Canna. It's officially the Canna Kuyas now. It's Canna Kuyas. Canna Kuyas. CANNAKUYAS.
One word?
At Instagram. Yes.
One word.
One fluid word at Instagram. Canna Kuyas. The Canna Kuyas on Instagram. Look for our logo on Instagram and follow us. But what was I saying again?
Oh my God!
I'm a little bit stoned. It's okay.
It's our fucking attention spans are just.
It's okay.
Shot.
Yours. I was fucking with the phone. That's why.
No,
I was literally changing the name of our official Instagram.
Tell us what's happening with the plants.
Oh, thank you.
Dang it!
God damn it. Okay. Well, yeah. No, I was saying that it's a little bit exhilarating and a little bit dejected.
Okay. Why?
Because I'm starting to train the lion's claw, all the regular autoflowers, and in some ways they're. Starting to show their sex, and I think one of the bigger plants is female, which is a wonderful thing, because that means those are the flowers that we want. So I'm really excited about the Lions Club, because it's real. I'm learning a lot from the grow. I'm using only grow dots. Shout out to Scotty Real and the Dude Grow Show and Grambo. But I'm using just grow dots, so it's just one application for the whole grow. I don't have to worry about flower or, top dressing for flower, top dressing for later veg or anything like that. It's all one. It should sustain. I think it's a great way to grow autoflowers, because you don't have to worry about it. Just water and recharge and flip flop, and you're good.
What about the clones that we picked up from Buds and Roses?
I don't want to talk about it.
You got to, though.
I know, but I don't want to talk about it. It makes me sad.
Why?
Because I don't like when plants die.
One died?
Here we go. Here, there's a little bit of hope. There's a little beacon of hope. But shout out to Buds and Roses, by the way, because they were great. They had such good customer service. What was her name again? Do you remember her name?
Bianca,
thank you very much. Shout out to Bianca at Buds and Roses, because she was so great about replacing the original clone that died, which was the DJ Short blueberry clone.
Yep.
But I was able to clip, before it actually died, I was able to clip one of the stems and clone it, and that little clone is still alive.
Yeah.
Which is great.
But that died.
But then Bianca was wonderful enough to replace it with Blue Steel, which was a cross between OG Blueberry and the Cube, I think is what the strain. And that unfortunately shriveled and died in my hybrid outdoor-indoor Buddha Lounge environment, because it just got too hot and it hadn't developed enough root structure, and it wasn't. I should have kept it in the smaller pot for a lot longer, and I
rushed it.
I rushed it.
How about the clone that I picked out? How's that doing?
That one is thriving.
That is the Jack Herrera, and
I showed it to you today. What'd you think? How do you look?
No, I'm very I'm glad that it's still alive, for one.
For real, because I'll tell you that for plants to grow in the summer, in my environment, they're acclimating themselves to the California sun and the summer heat.
It's hot.
It's hot in there, but it's a greenhouse, so it's a good environment for them, and especially in germinating seeds, it's been a great environment because like all the seeds that I got from greenhouse, I would say 70% of them have already sprouted, and I'm still waiting on the other two little Jedi cookie seeds to sprout, but I'm gonna give them time. It's only been a week, so I'm not gonna stress out. Although with seedlings, that's kind of the thing. They're a little bit stressful because they're so delicate and precarious that you kind of got to maintain the humidity. You saw how before we started podcasting, I maintained the humidity domes and kind of keep them in their own little ideal environment because they are a little, especially in that hot environment, I'm a little wary of their, survival. So, but once they get that first node, I'm going to take the humidity domes off, and they're going to be hopefully in a very good thriving environment because they've already, from seedling, already acclimated to the heat and to the environment already.
So for the people that are like TLDR, that's a thing. Too long, didn't read or don't read. You know what I mean. Anyways, so
what does that mean?
No, like when you see a thread or you see like a post and it's like super long and it's just like, oh man, a lot of people will just put too long, don't read, and then they'll just summarize. Sure. They'll summarize it. Yeah. So summary like we had the blueberry short dye. We had the blue steel dye. Jack Herrera's doing fine. The Lion's Claw are doing well. We still have a clone of the blueberry, so there is still hope.
Yes.
And hopefully the summer doesn't get too crazy. I feel it's going to get...
Well, no, but I will say this. Once those plants... Because that's the good thing about it, how it's gradually getting hotter. Mm-hmm. So all those plants are gradually acclimating themselves to the heat. I mean, that's part of it is that you almost don't want to overlove these plants. You don't want to overlove any plant, because, once a plant has acclimated itself to your environment, whether it's house plants or cannabis plants, you kind of got to just leave them alone and let them grow because there's only so much you can control about, like the helmet head seedling. Yes. I almost tried to fuck with it this morning, and I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm just gonna let nature do its thing. If it survives and it's cool and it thrives, great. And if it doesn't, there's only so much I can control about whatever happens. So that's part of it. That's part of what has growing has allowed me to really kind of de-stress myself in so many aspects of our lives. Just to bring it back quickly to Ube World, we didn't sell any merch at Ube World.
So which was 12productions.com and pick up a shirt
or pick up a hat, or you know what and also I think as the winter months come and we get the hoodies out and the long sleeves that you were talking about designing, and I feel like the Canna Kuya as a brand and as a podcast and as a thing is just growing because every time somebody finds out about it, they're really enthusiastic about it, especially if they're into the same things that we're into.
You know what it is too, though. Like there is still the stigma surrounding weed, and we didn't sell any merch at Uber World because it was an older crowd, and it's pretty much you're advertising that you smoke pot, and I don't think like the older folks want to advertise that if they do. You know what I mean? Like there's
they should though. That would be G as hell.
It would be.
I would love it if like Mikey's dad were to sport a Canna Kuya shirt.
It'd be freaking amazing. But I think just in the future, when we like in terms of design, we just might have to be a little more subtle about it. No. I don't know, man. It's like
no.
You wear one of our shirts, it's like you're weed Superman.
And that's exactly what I'm going for. Okay. Because that's what. How are you a Canna Kuya if you're not proud that you're a Canna Kuya?
It's not about proud. You could be low key about it. It could be like a secret society.
Then Mitch will design the low key Canna Kuya, the low key Canna Kuya.
Oh man, line. It's gonna be classy as F, man.
And if you want to be blatant as fuck, you can still rock the OG Canna Kuya t-shirt.
That's the difference between you and me, though. That is straight up the difference. Like,
you know what? And you know what? We should definitely acknowledge that in our merch for sure. Yeah. And you should definitely have a say in. Well, and that was really more of a initial. This is the first line of.
This was the first batch. Yeah.
This is the first batch, and I feel like as we grow and as. Pun intended. But as we grow, I feel like a lot of the merch will change. A lot of I feel like we would have growing accessories and
whatever
smoking accessories, and I'd love partnerships with other companies. Shout out to any other companies or any other Filipino American companies that are listening to this that are involved in the cannabis industry. You know, we want to talk to you. We want to meet with you. We want to connect with you.
Is there like a clothing company out there that can make me a barong out of hemp?
Come on.
Like a greenish, like a light green.
Or you could have just not said that idea, and we could have figured that out, and we could have done that shit our own.
No one listens to us.
And trademark that shit. Can you see who the one is who's a little bit more money minded?
I guess so. I mean,
no, but we're both. No, at the same time, yes, it's about monetizing our brand and monetizing our podcast, but it's also about connecting with other Filipino Americans who are in the cannabis industry and telling their story, sharing their story, and sharing their brand, so that other Filipinos who are like us are, you know, sharing Filipino brands and supporting Filipino brand, you know, for us, by us, man. That, you know, I grew up when that clothing brand first started, because I'm older than you, and you always like to point that shit out. But I'm older than you, and I grew up in the 90s, and FUBU came out, and that acronym of for us, by us, it meant a lot to me. And I know that is for our African American friends, but at the same time, if I can just apply that concept of for us, by us to the Filipino Americans in cannabis, that's
you made me conscious. I had an idea, but now I don't want to say it because I don't want anyone to steal it.
Yeah, for real. You never know. But at the same time, I would love to, if there are any Filipino American cannabis industry or cannabis industry businesses or small businesses that are listening to this, we would love to, as the Canna Kuyas, connect with you, be a guest on our podcast, and you tell your story of your company or how you're navigating the cannabis industry and how you're thriving or surviving or whatever it is, and just tell us and share your stories. If you are, reach out to us on Instagram at the Canna Kuyas, or on our website at the12productions.com, and hit us up, and we will definitely hit you back because we want to work with you. You're good.
No. All right. So let's shift gears because part of this podcast is also, like I said, weed is stigmatized. It does have a negative connotation within our community,
which is probably why we didn't sell any merch at Uber World.
No, I guarantee. Yeah. That's why we didn't share or sell any. But yeah, let's mix it up and talk about cannabis socially. You had some issues that you wanted to talk about, Eric. So
well, no, because I've been listening to a lot of the podcasts and YouTube videos. Shout out to From the Stash and Dude Grows and all these shows that I've been listening to and been following since I started growing. But they all have almost a negative view of the rescheduling from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Mm-hmm. They have a negative view of it. And I watched a couple documentaries from Vice News. Shout out to Vice News on YouTube. See, these are all things that I'm referencing. You guys can all, if you hear these, watch these videos because if you're growing, they will enlighten you because they have a lot of good growing tips. But in the case of Vice News, there was some really socially conscious cannabis videos, and one was how a tribe in Las Vegas was benefiting from creating a cannabis grow on their tribal land, and how the whole tribe would benefit from cannabis because they have access to the cannabis to the Sunset Strip in
Strip, Las Vegas Strip.
Las Vegas Strip. Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know these West Coast terms, but the Las Vegas Strip, their smoke shop, which could be transferred into a cannabis dispensary of their own homegrown, tribal-grown cannabis on their tribal land, could literally revolutionize the whole tribe and the whole structure of Native American culture in America, because they were thinking there was like this tribal council at the end of it that talked about how they could even have dispensaries in the casinos that are now on the tribal land, and how if cannabis was legal in your state like it is in Nevada, and a lot of the tribes in Nevada have access to a casino, and if you can put a dispensary in your casino, now you're talking about so much money. I mean, we're talking about what did Metabiz? I can't remember the name of the. No, I'm sorry, but I always forget the name of the BizCom, I think is the name. But there's a big cannabis conference in Vegas in October. Oh shit! And it is one of those that they projected that cannabis as a global industry is going to be at $28 billion last year, and next year it'll be at 36. Like, the growth is exponential in the cannabis industry. So if you have these Native American tribes who can take advantage of that, and it's almost like a it's amazing. It could revolutionize the income in all these places that are some of the poorest parts of our country, because they were structured that way because of our unfortunately corrupt government.
Yeah, the indigenous peoples of this land kind of just got the remnants of whatever the United States did not want. That's right. What it is.
And then the other, again, shout out to Vice News. The other documentary that I watched was about veterans and the effects of cannabis in as far as PTSD. And one of the quotes, and I'm not going to quote it, but basically the premise of what he said was, if you would liken PTSD to a dirty windshield, and then cannabis was his Windex, and it just cleared the PTSD from his view. I mean, that was really it touched me. Like, I almost got a little emotional at the difference in, because the Vice documentary. Shout out to Vice News. Watch this documentary if you can. Go on YouTube and watch this, because if you really do support the veterans, quote unquote, support our troops, whatever, like, there's veterans now who are protesting the VA because the VA doesn't allow them access to cannabis because it's still at Schedule 1. But if it was Schedule 3, I feel like the veterans might have better access or more access to cannabis.
So if you were a veteran and they found cannabis in your system, they can deny you benefits, or they can revoke benefits?
Look, man, I'm not a veteran. I'm not a soldier, but I would think that's what the documentary alluded to, is because cannabis was a federally illegal substance. Sorry. And if a veteran were to use it whilst on veteran benefits, he could risk losing his benefits because he would be breaking the law and in some cases, there was this one in the documentary that I'm alluding to. There was one veteran who I think signed a agreement to not use anything not prescribed and by the VA or something to that effect, like some exclusivity within his structure where they were basically prisoning him into this structure of him having to swallow so many pills.
Oh.
And I gotta say, I mean, these are people who fought and died and got hurt and watched their homies die in Iraq, and now they're in this state. Bro, I gotta say, man, as an American, it brought tears to my eyes, because these are our people who fought for us. Unfortunately, because even whether you believe in whatever they were doing or not, these were people who enlisted in the army and or Marines or wherever in the special forces, and then they fought for us and died for us, and now the VA is forcing them to take opioids, and in some cases overdose, and in some cases the opioids cause depression, and the suicide rate in veterans is so high that like the idea of that's why that quote at the beginning of what I was talking about, it stuck with me so hard, was that guy who was dealing, and you could see the difference with this guy who was kind of living in this dark small place taking pills, and then this other guy juxtaposed to this other guy who's access to cannabis, and he's smoking cannabis, and he's with his daughter, and he's talking with his daughter about what her school programs are, and his wife, and before cannabis, he wasn't allowed to even visit and be with his daughter. His ex-wife wouldn't allow it, and now that he's well adjusted, he's remarried and is now having a son on the way. And like the difference in the lives is so, like the difference in how cannabis has changed each of these people who've experienced the same thing is so amazing. And you know, when we talk about the endocannabinoid system on our podcast, and we talk about how this really is a medicine, and how it is chemically connected to us, and how it can adjust us and help us along our journey as humans, bro, like I can't even imagine, as for somebody who's had to deal with the horrors of war, and you can smoke a joint and you can turn that shit off. I mean, why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we provide our veterans with that?
Yeah, and so instead they got to take harder drugs and stuff they can actually get addicted to.
Or overdose from. Like you're talking about opioids that are derivatives of heroin, and opioids that are derivatives of whatever other thing that opioids are, you know, because they're mind-altering things, and that's what the VA thinks is good for them. And like I said, this really struck me because I have a brother-in-law who was in Iraq. You know, I have homies that served, you know, in the Army, and
Dude,
I know myself. I don't have the discipline, and or you know, I couldn't even do the haircut. Like I couldn't do it. But at the same time, these are people who did that and made that decision and sacrificed.
I have homies that were in the Army, that served in like Afghanistan and stuff, and a lot of them have some form of PTSD. Like one guy that I know, he was the coroner. So Oof. He would go in, he would have to like identify the bodies, pack them up, try to prepare them for whatever.
I can't even imagine.
Like sometimes there wasn't even
I don't want to imagine.
No, sometimes there wasn't even a body, you know, it was just a pile of goo, you know, right. Like, and he'd have to like pretty much clean it up. And so like that messed them up, you know?
I'm sure. And how could you not get messed up by some stuff like that?
But yeah, like, I think the rescheduling of weed will definitely benefit a lot of people.
It's a step. It's a step. It's a step in the right direction.
I think that if more places are able to actually study and analyze like the effects of cannabis on the human body and the brain, and they could actually find some beneficial uses just to help people, because I know that
one peer-reviewed Harvard medical journal, you know, article could change the whole thing, you know?
Yeah, no, because, okay, well, I'm not trying to compare myself to a veteran or anything or whatnot, but I know that when I went down to Ube World, when I was, like, driving down, like, before I left, I had to take some medicine, I had to pop some Aleve because
your back,
my back was freaking killing me.
Yeah.
Like, and it's an injury from a car accident. But I had to do that. And then freaking Mark Bond brought a ton of weed. We were smoking a lot of weed.
Shout out to Mark Bond. He was like, look at that glass tip. I mean,
he was fancy with it.
Okay, if you guys don't know, follow Mark Bond, word _is _bond, BON, on Instagram. Homie is a great comic, and he's a great friend of mine from Chicago, and he was on the lineup in San Diego, and he brought us, well, because he took advantage of the fact that he was here in California for the first time, so he bought a lot of weed. He got that good. He got that good Cali weed, and so he bought a lot of it, and he was sharing wonderfully, and we smoked a shit ton.
It was a lot. Like, there were some other homies that were with us, and they're like, "Is this how you roll all the time?"
Well, and I mean, shout out to Mikey. Like when we rolled in Chicago, he was like, "Wait, you guys don't want to pass this joint around?" I'm like, "No, we each have our own, homie. Come on."
No, but yeah, like it was a fun night. You know, we partook responsibly.
Well, for sure. I mean, we were all good. I mean, and obviously we can smoke a lot, and we're not really. It's we're just in a good place.
Yeah, but
No pun intended, Donkey Doug.
But yeah, no, like I remember like at a certain point, I just like my back, it didn't bother me anymore. Like I woke up the next day, I was like, oh, I'm feeling good.
You mentioned that. You mentioned that like we'd smoked a bunch, and then your back was totally fine and that's the thing, man. This is a medicine. Cannabis is a medicine. I keep saying it, and I'm going to say it until we have our last episode. I'm going to keep saying that cannabis is a medicine. And when I saw the effects of, cannabis and how it helps people with PTSD of war and of the wars that we unfortunately force them to fight, like, wow.
And
it's amazing.
And not just veterans, like there have been proven studies where, in people with seizures, it reduces seizures. It helps with appetite. Like there's a reason a lot of cancer patients like partake in weed because it helps. Like if you're on chemo, it helps with nausea.
My mom.
Yeah, your mom is what, 2-time survivor?
She's a 2-time cancer survivor, and she does edibles every day to go to sleep.
Yeah, see, like it's mild enough where I feel like it doesn't have any long-term effects. Because guys, like honestly, for weed,
but what I really thought was really interesting about this veterans documentary at the end of the day was when they got the doctor on and they talked about how they're trying to tailor make strains that are helpful, because there are some strains that make you paranoid. So why would you want to exacerbate PTSD with a cannabis strain that made you paranoid? So there are different strains, and like White Widow was one that helped lessen stress. I'm sorry, and so it's pretty amazing when you think about it. If we were allowed, and if it's rescheduled to Schedule 3, and we are allowed to study this plant and study the effects of this plant and study the benefits of this plant, it's gonna change the game in a lot of ways.
I think that we're a little behind because like I know a lot of other countries like especially like Europe, Australia, or
Israel. Shout out to Israel. They've been studying this plant for a long time.
Yeah, they've actually found like what's going on. Like they're able to isolate specific characteristics or specific like outcomes of like what happens. And just the more evidence that comes out, it just backs like, hey, like there's a lot of potential here for just bettering like
human
experience. Period.
Yeah.
And like we shouldn't be as scared of this as we should have. I really just start to question motives of like why people demonize it so much.
Well, it all boils down to the reefer madness. It really does. It boils down to the reefer madness, because that really is it. You know what I mean? Because it's the paranoia, all the what's the word? The propaganda that our society has been. Like I remember when who's I think it was Willis on Different Strokes, and one of his classmates put a joint in his book or something. I can't remember but like even in the 80s when I was a kid watching TV, cannabis was demonized. Saved by the Bell. Remember that they met the celebrity, and then the celebrity started smoking weed, and then Zach was like, "Oh no, should I smoke weed?" I mean, like it's always been demonized. Like it's been, and now. It's not. And we live in a time now where luckily it's getting rescheduled. And I think when that I think the rescheduling is only the first step to a full either decriminalization or legalization, I would hope. That's my optimistic, Cubs fan. Yeah, we won the World Series in 2016, even after 100 years of waiting, optimism where I just wait till next year and see if things are better, because I'm just I'm try to be as optimistic as possible, because I know a lot, and so if I was pessimistic, I'd probably be sad and depressed.
Is there anything else you want to let the audience know before we wrap it up?
I don't know, man. We're at 40 minutes already, and We, I don't want to keep them here longer than they want to be here.
Just listen to us forever, everybody. No, but
listen to all the past episodes, man. For real. If you like this podcast and you've been here if you're listening this long, then you probably like what you're hearing. So listen to. If you haven't listened to all the episodes, we're at episode this is episode 24. Mm-hmm. So we have 24 previous episodes. Kobe. Shout out to Kobe. I live in LA, and I'm a fan of Kobe, man. I cried when Kobe died. That was tragic. It's a tragedy. I'm still sad about that shit.
I'm very sad.
Yeah, but we're on our 24th episode, and if you like what you're hearing, then go listen to the other episodes, and also share us on the social networks, whatever you're on, the Threads, the X, the Facebooks. What else? Instagrams. Well, definitely follow us on Instagram because I just changed the call sign or the username.
Sign?
The user. I thought it was in Top
Red
Gun.
Robin, come in.
No,
Red Robin.
I just changed our username to Canna Kuyas. CANNA-KUYAS.
Yeah. You guys can't see it, but Eric was struggling.
I was struggling. I would not have won a spelling bee even as a child.
I've never seen him make those faces.
I was struggling because I'm not good speller ever. Again, I've never been as a good speller.
So, guys, you've been listening to the Canna Kuya podcast, where we are cultivating conversations concerning cannabis, culture, and creativity. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Mitch Narito.
And I am Eric Esteban. Y'all stay elevated.
Stay lifted. Thank you, all you Canna Kuyas and marijuana artists. Take it easy.
Peace, y'all.
Yeah, I got my hoodie on, now peep the chest as human catalyst. Downtown Chula Vista, on 3rd Ave where I go cop some shit. Fuck a thief, so fuck zoomies, yeah, they whack ass jacket shit. Yeah, I move too swift, so I strike in silence. Fuck the violence, man, check my mileage, cause I got driving. First two, I drove 6 states, never thought I'd be there right by my side, man. What a time it is to be alive. See, I'm charged up, feeling energized, build an enterprise, move supersize. Y'all let shit like a side of fries. Whoa, false guys who you idolize, yeah, go against us, I would not advise. We the highest in the room, just look up once and you can find us. Our song should have more plays, but we too dope, they rewind us. All my targets lined up, every day my girl get fined up. All my clothes is local, bitch, I really rock designer.
Gang, highest in the room, yo, we get fucked up. You can count on Trey, can't bring the loud pack. Get us in the stew and that's game over. Western Metal Building, that's a home run. Yeah, keep the up or leave the fuck a Folgers. Little bitch, I made the beat and dropped the full verse. I just hit a steelo, I got dripped up. Package born and raised, bitch, I got dripped up. Y no se compara. Yo estoy con mi pana, se llama Trega, fumando ganja. Estamos con Cali, fumando en Cali, yo sé que traen ganas. Ella me dice, papi, que terminamos la cama. Highest in the room, yeah, we get fucked up. You can count on Trey, can't bring the loud pack. Get us in the stew and that's game over. Western Metal Building, that's a home run.
Yeah, we got hits like Tatis and Machado, man, we know you're not a leader. Cause all our moves you just follow, packing big bowls. You know we just scooped up that gelato, cause I smoke killer. My shirt iller, yo, ask our dealer, we the highest in the room, just look up once and you can find us. Our song should have more plays, but we too dope, they rewind us. All my targets lined up, every day my girl get fined up. All my clothes is local, bitch, I really rock designer.